Thanks. When I was asked, first, thanks a lot for the warm welcome. When I was asked to, or when I was invited here at TOA, there were two prerequisites for my short speech. First, Philipp, you cannot speak about tech, which I thought, okay. Second, don't give a company presentation. So we thought about, what's interesting for you guys, and we heard there were a couple of people, who are actually thinking about, becoming entrepreneurs or are young entrepreneurs. And so I thought, let's maybe speak about the mistakes that we did on our path to building a European category leader in home and living. So what's Home24? Home24 is today, it's Europe's largest platform, and the slides are going. Yeah, it's Europe's largest pure-play online shop for furniture. So we sell furniture online. We were launching the business in 2010. We have about 1,000 employees now. It's about 1,200. We have about 180,000 products online. We have 2.6 million customers, and we did last year about 234 million in net sales revenue. Those are the products that we sell. So it's like very mass market, very basic furniture. It's cheap. It's for everybody. It's attractive. It's a wardrobe that we're selling that is very nice. There's a fantastic mattress where we think it's the world's best mattress that you can sleep on. So I much invite you to get voucher codes from me after the presentation, if you like. Is box spring bed. So just to give you kind of a flavor of what we really do at Home24, and we sell all these things online. Yeah? We're active on a global scale. So we started in Germany, but we're active in 7 countries in Europe today. We also have a large presence in South America, in Brazil. So again, the net sales curve. So we really scaled a lot over the last years, and we grew, very fast to the size that we're in just 6 years. So question is, what have we learned, or what were the big mistakes, or what were the learnings that we did on the way that we could speak about? And so I've put together 5 learnings where I think, as an entrepreneur, they're really core, and maybe they're worth sharing, and maybe they're also worth discussing with you. So please feel free to interrupt me with questions. So 2009, and this really relates to the core business model. In 2009, when we said, let's build this platform, this large e-commerce platform for furniture. So people said, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. There's no way. You cannot sell things like a sofa or a large wardrobe or things like that. You just can't sell them online because you first have to sit on it before you buy that kind of merchandise. You have to touch it. You have to kind of feel it. You have to sit on it. You have to experience the product, and therefore you have to go out into a brick and mortar store. But actually, we had kind of heard that line a couple of years before, and that was when people said, there were a couple of small businesses starting in 2007, selling shoes online. And what did people say? When there were shoes being sold first online, you can't do this because you have to try them on. Now we all know, what has become of formerly small startups that are huge businesses today, like Zalando. They have, become category killers with billions in sales and, also billions in value. And so there was a clear reference point in the model. And also we thought about what's really the customer experience for brick and mortar customers these days when they go out to brick and mortar stores. And maybe this small picture depicts correctly, the experience that quite a few customers have out there. At first they have to waste their Saturday. Usually you have to drive out an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, because those shops are located at the outskirts of the cities. They're not located within the cities. Then usually there's only limited choice because you cannot simply put everything into a limited shelf space. Then there are sales agents that are not telling you what's the best product, but they're selling the product that they get the highest commission from. Then you have usually 12 to 14 weeks of delivery time. And then if you're lucky, the stuff is actually on stock, but then you have to rent a van to actually take it home. So it's quite inconvenient, and it's not the customer experience that we think is the digital age customer experience for home and living. And also, in addition to seeing the model work in another vertical or other verticals in e-commerce like shoes, fashion, and so on, We also had data at the time, and these are just the Google search data. On a regular day, there's at least 65,000 search requests just for the word sofa, just on Google, just in Germany. And if you think of 65,000 entrances of the word sofa, just in Google, just in Germany, just on one day, it's not scientific research. It's people eventually looking to buy something. And the only thing that we had to do was create an offering to reflect on that demand. So, summarizing it up, many customers, and that's an old commercial that we did, having to drive to the figurative end of the world or ass of the world. So many customers are really tired of doing this, wasting their Saturdays driving to the end of the world to buy furniture in brick-and-mortar stores. So the learning number one, for us it was really, don't let people bullshit you when you really have a solid model and solid data to support your idea. Oh, and that's one thing, starting a business always, it requires kind of a patience or kind of a relaxed attitude, because obviously there's incumbents, there's people who will not like what you do, and if you're setting out to disrupt a market, existing competitors, for us it was in brick and mortar, but also online, but also maybe some suppliers, you're getting them out of their comfort zone, and there's change that you're bringing to the market. And that may get you under attack. So they will not like what you do. They will try to prevent you from doing what you do. They will get you into serious fights, and they will also learn that within your business you will start making mistakes. And we've done a lot of those mistakes, to be honest. But our learning is the only thing that you can really do if you believe in what you do, and if you believe in the idea, and if you have those solid data to support your idea, you need to fight back. You have to fight back. So this is an example of an early competitor of ours, and that was not the fish. It's the blueprint that I have in there. Who was sending us, when we started the business, about 10 to 15 cease and desist letters, because they were saying, there's so many things that you do wrong, and you're not being an honest competitor, and so they were sending us the cease and desist letters. And first, that helped us to get better, because there were a few things that we really did wrong. But then we looked into their business, and we sent them 15 to 20 cease and desist letters back, because we found out they were really doing a lot of things much wronger than we were doing. And well, the result you see here, at the end of the day, we were able to prevail that one competitor. And I think for me, it was really learning you will be under attack, and in the course of the business, those kind of attacks, they will be getting larger and larger, and this is kind of a persistence that you need in order to really prevail and overcome all those obstacles that are going to be present along the way. So, learning number two, when you set out to disrupt a market, incumbents, and not only incumbents, lots of people involved, you're getting them out of their own comfort zone, because they're really used to do what they do, and there have not been any disruption in that market earlier on. So they will get nasty. And you need to be prepared to that, first on a factual basis, but also emotionally, that these things happen, so don't bend. Thinking of growth and scaling, the business up. Again, we're selling heavy and bulky furniture, and we wanted to have that furniture readily available for end customers in short delivery time. So after some time, we opened up a warehouse, and that's what we called our first warehouse, and it's not the first version, it's actually already the second version, and to be honest, it was total chaos. It was total chaos. There were packages, parcels, large, small, flying around in total chaos, and those were 5,000 square meters. And of course, in the early days, there is chaos to be expected, because things are scaling fast and need to be done fast, and not everything is going perfect. And if you compare the first one with now our sixth warehouse, that's the most recent one, it has 65,000 square meters, 5 stories up, 65,000 square meters, that equals 11 soccer fields. So that's really large warehouse. And for me, the learning that goes from it is on the way of scaling. First, obviously Rome was not built in one day. Yeah? And second, this scaling, this fast scaling, it may really lead to chaotic situations, because there's so many things that need to be considered. And mistakes will happen, along that way. Maybe bad mistakes, in some cases. And for us, the biggest learning was that we always needed to make sure that the processes are remaining under control. And that's irrespective of you have operation situations like this, or finance, or systems. Same thing in purely digital businesses when it's like traffic ramping up like crazy. You kind of need to make sure that your systems are able to handle that kind of traffic. So it basically applies to any business model. One of the questions that we have not asked ourselves early enough, being very frank, is who's actually paying us? Who's paying you? Who is it? Is it investors, or are you paying yourself because you're self-funding the business? It's always a question that we're kind of answering ourselves now, but who is it? Of course, it's customers. Yeah. So, like this kind of a customer-centric, or building a customer-centric organization, and maybe it's a total no-brainer. But whenever we have situations in the business now with more than 1,000 people, we always need to make sure that we're not doing this ourselves because we need to make your boss happy, or we need to make an investor happy, or we need to make shareholders happy, but building a sustainable organization, it's really, really fundamental to make it customer-centric, and that irrespective of whether you're building a purely digital platform, a core technology play, or an e-commerce platform, or whatever kind of business, because it's not being paid by investors or being paid eventually by an exit that you do if you sell the company, if you're able to sell the company, but to sustainably make end customers happy is really something that we always try to keep in mind more and more. And that was not done in the first place, and maybe in the first months and years, to the extent that I think today is really, really, really necessary. And on that way, we've always needed to ask ourselves, what's the biggest leverage now? So, what is it? Is it technology, maybe? Yeah. Or is it capital that you're able to get to build your ideas? Or is it maybe, the super smart idea that you have? I think it's not, to be honest. I think it's people. It's people. It's your colleagues. It's your employees. And one of the things that I deeply believe that you cannot buy with money, and that competitors cannot copy, is the culture that you establish in your business. And this is maybe just a few examples of how we choose, our colleagues when we get people on board at Home24. First, in the middle of it, it's a no-brainer. Yeah? It's professional competence. Obviously, you're always trying to recruit the very best people for the task at hand. Yeah? It's really no-brainer. Yeah? So it's just a check item, of course. Yeah? Everybody's trying to get the best people. But second is a very clear rule. Yeah? And it's not something everybody laughs always. When I draw up those circles, and in every recruiting interview I draw up those circles. I've been doing that for 6 years now. I'm very serious. No assholes means for us at Home24. We have people with long hair, we have people with short hair, we have people who love sports, we have people who hate sports, we have people in marketing that are fancy people, we have nerds, we have over 100 engineers, we have people who ride a bike, like myself, there's people who drive a Porsche, we have gays and lesbians and heterosexual people. We really don't give a shit, to be honest. It's not important to us. It's important that among the males, there is no testosterone monsters. Among the females, there are no chick wars. That there is no politics in the business. That whatever we choose, whatever decision is being made, is purely based on what's best for the business. And that kind of requires for us to make sure that we're liberal, that we're a very liberal organization, that we let people live as they are, and that we just act accordingly to what's the best solution for the business. So therefore, we cannot have assholes on the team. It's super important to us. Last one. It's the sparkling in the eyes. We're not Siemens. And I don't want this business ever to be Siemens. We're also not Deutsche Telekom, as much established as they are and as much credit goes to them. We're not a public authority. It's still a startup. And we want people to have this fundamental sparkling in the eyes to disrupt that business. It's super important to us because if you combine those three elements, we think we have a very solid basis for people to stay together for a very long period of time. And if you translate that into growth, on the left side, you will see those 10, 15 people that we were in 2010. Please always also take a look at the pants. They were a very interesting cut. And if you translate that to 2016 with more than 1,000 people, it's kind of difficult. And we had that experience that it's difficult to retain that culture and to carry on that culture in the course of growth, because there were so many people coming on board, and those kind of principles, and whether you translate those three principles that I was just showing into a set of rules or values, or however you translate that and establish that for the long term. But to really establish that, and I think we've done quite a few mistakes in really fundamentally establishing that culture in the course of growing. It's one of the things that I would do better, today, in making sure that whatever the company, like the sum of people believes in, that should be their values. It's not my values. It's just the business's values, to establish them and to carry them on to the extent that you continue to be growing. So it's learning number 5. It's basically my fifth learning, and so it's my 5 cents of wisdom. I think it's super fundamental to invest in people in the first place, in people, because they are the biggest leverage, and to establish a great culture. And that brings fundamental challenges with you when you scale and when you just don't know anybody in the business, because there are just so many. Yeah? Maybe you can know 50, maybe you can know 100, maybe you can know 150 by name, but when it's getting more, it's difficult to do this. And to continue to establish that cultural and that people fit in the business, I think is most fundamental for making things happen and actually to bring that change to the market that you originally set out to do with your idea. So it's about not messing it up when you scale. Those are my five learnings. I'm happy to answer questions. And there's one more thing I want in particular to highlight, since we're here in Berlin, and there's like a lot of people not in Berlin, and Home24 was built in Berlin and is staying in Berlin, irrespective of having brought the business across Europe and Latin America. And that is Berlin, in my opinion, and that's the Berghain. It's just the coolest place ever, yeah, to build a great business. Yeah? Thank you.
Yeah, so we have a early hand at the back. So yeah, you can ask first question. Go for it. We'll just bring the mic down.
Who was it? Hey, thanks for the presentation. It's just great to see, like, in 5-6 years, you just like. My question for you would be, why haven't you entered US market?
The US market?
Yeah.
For us, it's got several reasons. First, I think what's super fundamental is one of the 6 learning, and probably we could add learnings number 6 through whatever 20, is you need to focus. It's focus. And on selling furniture and establishing a platform for selling furniture, it's very intricate, logistically, operations-wise, many carriers, many countries, many channels, lots of complexity. And to bringing that into the United States just acquires additional complexity. And we think the European market is just so large. It's a market of about 40 billion euros in Germany alone, and in Europe it's over 100 billion euros. So there's just such a fantastic market opportunity to requiring for you to do a good job first in the original market. And when that is finished and you're done, but we're light years away from being perfect, then you may expand further.
Okay. There's a hand there. Second question.
What's your best standardized no asshole test? What kind of data do you look at?
That's a very good one. What's my best standardized no asshole test? I think it's developed over time. In interviews, we've been discussing, social things like, whoever played soccer, and where there were people who didn't play soccer. I said, okay, it's not required for people to play soccer, but what are other things that people do? And I've always thought that people who have a passion, for something, something other than, being factually competent on something, is really, really fundamental. Somebody who really has a passion for something and has this kind of sparkling in the eyes, I think it's been a very good test. Second, in laying out those 3 fundamental points, people that have kind of raised their eyebrow and said, oh, maybe that's not me, they usually have not joined. So I've been straight in laying out our rules of engagement, if you want, to say, those are the things, and if they have joined and it didn't work out, we've usually found out, quite shortly, mutually.
Okay. Thank you very much, Philipp.
Thank you. Thanks.